This is our country, boy. You don't mess with us. This is our country. You dare talk of Pakistan, we will export you to Pakistan in a box. Don't trust a snake, never trust your enemy. That is the rule of war. And Prithviraj Chauhan paid a very heavy price. Has now been told to the whole world, you want Kashmir? Come and get it, boy. Come. तुम्हारा हड्डी पसली चूरमा बना के दे देंगे. It's very fine to desire peace, but those who want peace should be prepared to fight wars. If you are ready to fight wars, you will have total peace. This is treachery, and I, as the law minister, will never do it. You are welcome to leave. आप जा सकते हैं. This is the way Bhimrao Ambedkar Sahib treated this Article 370 origin business. Respected Sri Raghavan, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Justice Krishna Bhatt ji, it is a privilege to come to Karnataka. This very holy land, I would call it. And he just paid a tribute to the people of the north who had suffered. But let us tell you, in no uncertain terms, had it not been for you all, our religion would not have been kept alive. Hinduism is alive and kicking only because of you, because the south had the depth in which, even while the north was being conquered by foreign enemies, the Cholas were making conquests in Southeast Asia. Now, I think I can claim with a little lack of modesty that I am very well qualified to talk on Jammu and Kashmir. I was born in Jammu, by the way. My birthplace is Jammu. My father, Dr. Bhakshi, Suraj Prakash Bhakshi, he served the Maharaja of Kashmir as the chief education officer of the Jammu and Kashmir state forces. He was personal tutor to Yuvraj Karan Singh, now who was the Sadr-e Riyasat of Jammu and Kashmir after, of course, it had been merged with India. So we have seen Jammu and Kashmir from that point onwards. And today I'll tell you some interesting insights you may not find in the books. One of the major problems in Jammu and Kashmir from the very beginning was the instrument of accession, the option to accede either to India or Pakistan, had been given to all the 550 plus odd princely states of India. But it was Maharaja of Kashmir who vacillated. Now, why did he vacillate? Did he have a hope in hell if things had gone Pakistan's way? So why did he vacillate? Very interesting, and this story was told to me by my father. And there was in the court of Jammu and Kashmir a saint called Mahantji, and he had somehow, captured the mind of the Maharaja, as we could, so put it. The Maharaja really depended a lot on his sagacity and advice, etc. Because once it had happened, he was traveling in an aircraft and it met a lot of turbulence, and suddenly he had a vision in which that Mahant was holding the plane in his hands. So from that day onwards, whatever the Mahantji said was law in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. And my father recounts that when the Darbar hall used to take place, when Mahantji came, he was followed by a state valet with his silver hookah. It was that kind of an entry. I'm talking of a princely era long gone. And even the queen had to stand up. Even the queen, every courtier, every darbari had to stand, because the Maharaja deemed him his guru. He would touch his feet. So even the queen had to stand. That was the state of hold that Mahantji had. Mahantji unfortunately told the Maharaja, Your Highness, मैं आपका झंडा लाहौर और सियालकोट के ऊपर देखता हूँ. So he filled him with dreams which were, they were very unrealistic, Anybody more sober-minded perhaps would have said, forget about it and all that. You see, but he believed it and he actually vacillated. He actually vacillated till it was too late. Sheikh Abdullah, in the meantime, the other dramatis personae, he had made a trip to Lahore. You know, he had made a trip to Lahore and he had gone to meet Muhammad Ali Jinnah, no less. You know, all this fabulous talk about secularism and all that, a great devotee of secularism in Jammu and Kashmir, Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, etc., etc. You know, he had gone to see how he could merge that way. And because Jinnah was aware of his friendship with Nehru, he treated him with utter contempt. He kept him waiting for about 3-4 hours. And then he told his guards and all that, tell him to go. I have no use for it. With this kind of a smack in the face, everybody will turn pro-Indian. You see, he's not out of choice. We all know where his first choice was and how it happened thereafter. And then of course, Jinnah already had the plan in his pocket, Operation Gulmarg. 10,000 armed Pathan Lashkars of the Mahsood tribe, of the Afridi tribes, the most bloodthirsty tribes. They were recruited with the help of the Pakistan Army and their British Commander-in-Chief, General Frank Misservy. With the help of these, they recruited these Lashkars, they armed them. They wanted 5,000 trucks to carry back the women and the loot. Not necessarily in that order. The women and the loot from Jammu and Kashmir back. That is their sole motivation for the so-called liberation of Jammu and Kashmir. What a bloody liberation it was. My father lived through it and it was carnage all the way. The state forces had only 8 battalions where there are over 300 battalions today. And we fall short because there are gaps. Can you imagine 8 Paltans of the Dogras of the Jammu and Kashmir state forces, now Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, which incidentally is the regiment to which I belong. So one more qualification that I am adding today, right? And they came, they had spread the forces out. Then the people from the INA who had gone back to Pakistan from there, they were recruited by the local, by the the Pakistan military, the Pakistan administration to create another 10,000 strong force which would attack from the side of Jammu. So they drew all the troops away, now first towards Jammu, and when there were just penny packets left there, they started, burning this village, attacking this thing, creating some communal flare-up here, there, everywhere, so that the forces were scattered thin. And then the main attack came in the place from Muzaffarabad, Domel, Baramulla, Srinagar. One of the best battalions of that state forces, the 4th Battalion Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, which had fought in Burma against the Japanese and won 5 military crosses. 5 military crosses is the equivalent of 5 Mahavir Chakras. I mean, they were that tough. The best battalion of the state forces were there. They had 2 companies of Sikhs, 2 companies of Mohammedan troops at that time. They had subverted those troops. They had filled their mind with communal hatred, and intelligence of this had come. And the Maharaja told the battalion commander, look, unfortunately some of your boys seem to have been subverted. Like a good commanding officer, he said, my boys are my boys. Shut the F up and all that. Nothing of this sort will happen. I mean, he had that much faith in his own boys. They had fought the war together and all that. But it is extremely tragic. Those same boys, at night they got up, they slaughtered their companions, their own comrades in arms while they were sleeping. They killed the commanding officer, they killed the adjutant, and suddenly the gates to Srinagar were wide open. and the Lashkars were pouring down. This is the time when there was, I want to give you this history because very few people know this. There was Brigadier Rajendra Singh, the Commander-in-Chief of the Jammu and Kashmir state forces, right? And the Maharaja called him and ordered him. He says, whatever troops there are, please take them, go forward yourself and try and gain time. I am going to accede to India, but I want you to gain time for me so that I can sign the instrument of accession, without which the Indian army won't come in. It's all on to you now. So he gathered from the Badami Bagh cantonment about 30, 40, 50, whatever boys he could get from here and there. Ultimately, he managed to assemble about 150. Most of them were the Sahayaks, the batmen, those who had been left behind. He gathered them all, he formed a detachment. And a commander-in-chief could easily have said, okay sir, I've got the orders, I'll carry them out. He could have sent a colonel, he could have sent a major, lieutenant colonel. He said, nothing doing. I'm going forward myself. He was the father of 5 daughters. And he asked his daughter, get me my pistol and I'm going. He said, but Papa, you are the commander-in-chief. If you go, who will be here in Srinagar to coordinate operations? He said, beta, there is no time for all these niceties. So she asked him, when will you come back, Papa? He said, beta, I don't know. I don't know. And fathers in the military have sometimes to give this answer to their own children. Will you be coming back? I don't know. So that was it. He moved forward himself. He reached forward to Uri, and then he didn't find the enemy there. So he could have sat down there and dug trenches and said, oh, let me wait for them to come. No. He went forward, he crossed the Uri bridge, went forward, and he banged into the Pakistani loot convoy which was coming forward. They opened machine gun fire on that convoy, scattered that convoy, and then they fell back to the Uri bridge. He gave a historic order, blow up the Uri bridge. The engineers had already wired up, and bang, that whole bridge over the gorge fell into the river Jhelum, right? And that saved Jammu and Kashmir. Ladies and gentlemen, it gave us the crucial 48 hours in which the Indian army, the Maharaja signed the instrument of accession to India, and the Indian army flew in, right? And actually the saga didn't end there. When the whole convoy was halted, the Pathan Lashkars refused to move forward. They said, हम तो को लूट के लिए आया था, हम तुम्हारा नाटक करने थोड़ी ना, हमारा कहाँ से माल जाएगा, कहाँ से औरत जाएगा, ये वो. So the Pakistani officers who were in the same salwar kameez, they pleaded with them कि don't worry, आप थोड़ा footbridge पे cross कर लो, ये है वो है, हम नहीं, you get this bridge going. Very indisciplined lot. Quite obviously, Pathans are not known for their discipline. So the indisciplined lot, they created quite a problem for this one. And in the meantime, when they were getting delayed, then they started getting desperate, because they said constructing this bridge again will take us upwards of a month in the mountains. So then they pushed them forward. Their top commanders came, gave them, distributed a lot of money, and they started crossing over in the small footbridges. Now you can't blow every bloody bridge. It is hundreds of bridges for the local villagers to cross. So they crossed and they tried to cut him off. So he gave them a good solid resistance from there, and then he understood, if they get behind me, it's all over. Even if the foot columns get behind me, they cut my retreat off, Srinagar is defenseless. So very intelligently, he kept falling back from one position to the other position to the other. This is the most difficult operation in military operations, the entire gamut of fighting withdrawal, where the enemy is pressing you from this side, trying to cut you off from the rear, and you are trying to delay him at every step. This is how he gained those crucial 48 hours. The last stand that he gave was, then they realized that it is the same company which is fighting them again and again and again. So this time they put a big strong column behind, they cut the trees, dropped them on the road, and his column was ambushed as it was withdrawing to the final layback position, as it is called. He was badly wounded. His boys wanted to evacuate him. So this man's order was, let me tell you how it happens. He said, look, I'm done for. मेरा खेल खत्म है. मेरे पास एक मशीन गन छोड़ जाओ और तुम लोग जाओ. Go and take that defense line in front of Srinagar between your mothers and sisters and these bhediyas. There is nothing else but you. Forget about me. I'm done for. I can't live through this. Leave a machine gun. I'll hold them up till you can get back. And that is the last scene of this man. And as that last boys fell back to the perimeter of Kashmir, the instrument of accession had been signed and the first aircraft flew in of the Indian Army, and that saved the day in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, instead of being grateful to the Indian Army and giving it the chance, now that we got in, we pushed them out of the valley, then we pushed them out of Kargil, then we pushed them out of Leh, and now the operation in Hyderabad were on. They finished, and General Karyappa, he's from Coorg, one of our greatest soldiers, Field Marshal Karyappa. Field Marshal Karyappa, you see, his plan was that let the operation in Hyderabad get over, I'll take all these troops and then I'll give the final push and kick the hell out of the Pakistanis, send them back towards Rawalpindi, where they belong in the first place, right? So he wanted to do that, and just then our then beloved Prime Minister, he suddenly gave amazing halt order. No, India is a peaceful country. Of course we want to live in peace, providing our neighbors will let you live in peace. It's very fine to desire peace, but you have to do something. Then those who want peace should be prepared to fight wars. It's as simple. If you are ready to fight wars, you will have total peace. But if you show this kind of a vaccinality, he says, we will argue in the General Assembly, in the United Nations Security Council. He was a lawyer. But, lawyers can't do the work of soldiers. You have to understand that, where the line ends. You can't argue your way out of a war. I wish it could happen that way, but it doesn't. It doesn't happen that way. And we've had a disaster ever since. Now, Sheikh Abdullah suddenly had, his friendship for Nehru had deepened after the kick he got from Jinnah. The friendship for Nehru had deepened. And now I'll tell you what good lawyers are. He went to Nehru and said, अब तो तुमने 2/3 state तो ले ही लिया है. So I want certain guarantees. My position must be guaranteed. The rights of the Jammu and Kashmir state must be guaranteed and all that. And the person insisting the most upon these guarantees were no less than Lord Louis Mountbatten, right? And Lord Louis Mountbatten was an Angrez. 200 years it took to kick the British out. And after that, the first Prime Minister of India decides to have the first Governor General of the state of India as Lord Louis Mountbatten. Pakistan also became a dominion, same one day earlier. They had the decency to choose, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, a Pakistani, as their first Governor General. Here, 200 साल लगे साहब इनको to see their back, and now you call him right back. I don't want to get into who was friendly with who, and who didn't want somebody to go. But the fact of the matter is, now we were stuck with this, and so Nehru then told him, okay, please go to Baba Saheb Ambedkar. He is the law minister. It's a very interesting story. So Jinnah Sahab, Sheikh Abdullah, Muhammad Abdullah Sahab, he went to Baba Saheb Ambedkar with this proposal for Article 370, 371 and all that. So Baba Sahab read it very patiently. Now, his reaction to this is worth listening. Is worth listening, right? He said, Mr. Abdullah, you want the government of India and the people of India to pay for building roads and bridges and schools and colleges and hospitals in your state, and you want them to have no rights there. You want them to have no rights there. You don't want the applicability of Indian laws to your state. Or payment sab hum bharenge. He says, Mr. Abdullah, this is treachery. You understand? This is treachery. And I, as the law minister, will never do it. You are welcome to leave. Aap ja sakte hain. You see, this is a very nice phrase in Hindi. Aap ja sakte hain. You have my permission to leave. Whether you want to or not, you have my permission. Aap ja sakte hain. This is the way Bhim Rao Ambedkar Sahab treated this Article 370 origin business. So he went crying back to Nehru, and Nehru said, oh, Gopal Swami Iyengar is better disposed towards me, so you go to him. And then he drafted, and all that backdoor thing is very recent history. Now, I want to tell you precisely what difference, it has made. The legal aspects are now dead and buried. Forget it. Forget it. What was far more important was the psychological mental block. You asked China, sir, will you give freedom to the people of Tibet? You know the answer that you will get? No, nahi, niyat, not. और कोई भाषा में सुनना है? You wanted French, शायद भूल गया हूँ. But get lost. What freedom? What independence? It's a part of China. That's what they tell you. We all know it's not a part of China. We all know the genocide that was done there. But that's it. ये हमारा है. So, sir, what was required was, through all these decades and years of dithering and fumbling, अब हर चीज नेति नहीं हो सकती. It is not this, it is not that, it is not independence, it is not accession, it is not. Why not? The accession rules were very clear. They applied to all states, including J&K. When the Maharaja of Kashmir signed that instrument of accession, there are no ifs and buts. It means he hands over the sovereignty of the state to India, period. Period. I realized this problem personally. I of course joined the Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, and I had the very good fortune. There are some blessed people even in the army. I never came out of operations. People sent me there and possibly forgot I was there. In the lighter vein, of course. So my career started with the 1971 war. I am from that batch of 71. We were commissioned a month before operations were to start. So we were just called into the parade ground, and the adjutant came on his white charger and he said, boys, you've done very well. We are very impressed with your level of training, right? So we are going to commission you 1 month in advance, and all of us clapped, wah, 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 So the adjutant turned to the assistant adjutant, he said, poor chaps. ये ताली बजा रहे हैं, इनको पता नहीं इनका क्या होने वाला है. इसे क्यों सर, क्या होगा? तो बोले ये 1 महीना में लड़ाई शुरू हो गया होगा, राइट? और ये पलटन जिस रात उतरेंगे ट्रेन से, ये सीधा लड़ाई में ठोक दिए जाएंगे, ठीक है? एंड इनको जवानों का नाम नहीं पता होगा, जवानों को इनका नाम नहीं पता होगा कि साहब का नाम क्या है. वो लेफ्टिनेंट साहब कब तक चलेगा? और ये क्योंकि यंग ब्लड है, तो ये सबसे आगे चार्ज करता हुआ जाएंगे, दिखाने की मेरे में भी कुछ है यार. आई एम नॉट टोटल राइट ऑफ बिकॉज आई एम न्यू. ये लोग चार्ज करते जाएंगे, मैक्सिमम मारे जाएंगे, बहुत नुकसान होगा इस बैच का. He was absolutely right. He was an old soldier. He said बहुत सारे मारे जाएंगे. He was absolutely right. My batch had a lot of damages, lot of losses. heavy casualties. But we are very proud that we were born on the battlefield. And in 13 days we had broken Pakistan into two. 13 दिन में पाकिस्तान का दो टुकड़ा हो गया था. और जो बोलते थे एक पाकिस्तानी 10 हिंदुस्तानी के बराबर है, 93,000 of them laid down their arms और इस तरह हथियार अब खड़े होके they became our prisoners of war. And personally we put them into goods trains, cattle sheds, और उनको कान करके वो बंद करके, जैसा वो ढोर डंगर को बंद किया जाता है वैसे करके हमने भेजा है. लोग कहते हैं you can't change your neighbors. So we didn't change our neighbor, we changed the map of South Asia. So, we simply changed the map of South Asia. No neighbor like Pakistan. Unfortunately, we stopped halfway. We should have gone the full length. We would have had less problems. But हमारे में एक और थोड़ा सा कमजोरी है. हम लोग, we are very generous people as Indians. When Prithviraj Chauhan 17 times Muhammad Ghori attacked, and 17 times he beat them and he drove him back. तो जब वो 17th time भाग रहा था, you see, so the Rajputs said, महाराज ये बहुत हो गया. बोले हुक्म इसको खत्म कर दे आप, इसका कहानी भाग तो रहा है जिस तरह की गीदड़ जैकॉल भागता है, तो इसको खत्म कर दें. तो फिर वो अरे राजपूत, हम राजपूत भागते हुए को थोड़ी ना मारते. Wrong, very wrong. Don't trust a snake, never trust your enemy. That is the rule of war. And Prithviraj Chauhan paid a very heavy price. He let him go, he came back the 18th time, and then the rest of is what you all know as history. So the fact of the matter is, we had shown Udarta there, we showed Udarta here. After 2/3 of the state had been taken, we just had to take Muzaffarabad. It was all over. You could have kept shouting from the rooftop, बहुत गलत किया, aggression किया, ये किया, वो किया. Keep crying, रोते रहो, रुदाली करो जितना करना है. It was a cut and done deal. But we showed that little weakness of will. Now then, I fought counter-terrorist operations in Punjab, and immediately thereafter I had to go and fight in Kargil, which was absolutely regular operation. I had 6 killed, 21 wounded in my own battalion. One of my best athletes lost both his eyes. I could bear what happened to the boys who died because their misery was over. The misery was now for their relations, their loved ones. But this boy who lost both his eyes, was blinded, I felt the most hurt for. I had hardly finished that war when I got my promotion, and I was posted now to Kishtwar. Kishtwar then was the roughest, toughest area in Jammu and Kashmir as far as counter-terrorist operations were concerned. In the valley, everything is flat and plain. Your trucks can take you, jeeps can take you. Kishtwar meant the valley floors are 7,000 and the mountain ridges are 14, 15, 16 and more. So if you are chasing a terrorist, this is the way you go. From one valley to the next, to the next, to the next. And it can be very bloody taxing. There was another problem in that area. 40% of the people were the Hindu minority and 60% were the majority, the Muslim majority. And that had its own complications. Whenever I mounted the pressure I told my boys when I reached there, and now I'd like to tell you a little bit more detail as to what is the psychological impact of Article 370. When I reached there, once a month you are supposed to hold it is called Prominent Citizens Meet. The Kishtwar town, the top citizens, the most respected civilians, they are called for a meeting with the brigade commander. And he tells them about this thing, and if they have any problems, they tell him direct, right? So we have this interaction with the civilians. And I found there was a kind of a feeling in Jammu and Kashmir that one fine day the Indian army will be gone. The time is on the side of the terrorist. You see, and everybody supports a winner. Nobody will support you if he thinks you are a loser. The earlier you adjust to the fact, it will be better for you. मेरे को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता what you think or you don't think. The problem will be to you. तुम दो किश्ती में टांग नहीं डाल सकते. And hope that you can, they'll sail parallel forever. ये किश्तियां ऐसे जा रही हैं. तकलीफ मालूम किधर होगी और कहाँ होगी? It will be to you. The earlier you realize this, the better you will be here, because I will be ruthless with any who think that the army is going. Because we'll show you that the army is here to stay. We'll prove it to you. Right? And there were stunned faces, and then my staff officer looked at me. He said, agar ye paper mein aa gaya to I said, that's very good. So I said, who's the local correspondent? He said, call saab hai. मैंने कहा, after this is over, send him to my office. So after this meeting was over, Kaul Sahab came to my office. He was very worried because I didn't have exactly a very nanny type reputation. So I said, Kaul Sahab, आप वहाँ थे meeting में? बोले, हाँ साहब. आपने सुना मैंने जो कहा? हाँ साहब. मैंने कहा, कल ये पेपर में आएगा. And after we had shaken that place up nice and proper, these common citizens came back to me and said, General साहब, आपके बाकी लोग आपके जैसे क्यों नहीं बोलते? वो साफ बोल दो. हमको क्यों हाँ कर देंगे, थोड़ा प्यार करो तो कर देंगे, नहीं कर देंगे. Sky is the limit. In very good feelings, sometimes we make gestures which are designed to, to be nice to everyone. And we have very genuinely nice people. But the fact is, the people take advantage of it, the wrong kind of people. Sky is the limit. The best thing that happened with Article 370 was that what I was trying to do in my area has now been told to the whole world. You want Kashmir? Come and get it, boy. Come. तुम आओ, तुम्हारा हड्डी पसली चूरमा बना के दे देंगे तुम्हारा मुंह के ऊपर. You are not getting Kashmir in a hurry, boy. You will have to fight for it. You want Kashmir? No, nahi, not yet. Climb a gum tree. Smoke it. You are not getting Kashmir. And frankly, this was a magic thing required. Pakistan tab tak had been taught quite a good lesson. When they tried to create that problem in Uri, we sent the para commandos across to the terrorist training camps. 40 of them were killed the next morning. And our boys came back without a scratch. That was just one bullet. Trailer dikha diya hai. We've shown you a trailer. Don't mess with us. Don't trouble till trouble troubles you. A very simple message to convey to your enemy. Don't trouble till trouble troubles you. Right? So we conveyed it. 2-3 months they were fine. 2-3 months they were fine. Then they did that incident, that blast in Pulwama, and they killed 45 of our CRPF poor boys who were just come back from leave and were going in their bus to the transit camp. They blew that up, killed 40. This time, we sent our Mirage 2000 aircraft across the border, 80 kilometers into not Pakistan, into not POK, into Pakistan proper. And that Balakot camp, very famous terrorist camp of Balakot, 300 of them were fried up. I can assure you of that. Because those are the bombs that go through the roof and burst inside. So from outside you will not see much damage. But I pity the guy who dies inside. He will be roasted alive, roasted alive. Cinder नहीं बचेगा उसका साहब. और वो वहाँ पे हुआ है. अब आप बोलो कौवे नहीं मरे, हमने खा लिए कौवे मर के. You know what has been done to you. The person who is required to know knows what has been done. Pakistan was quiet for 2 years. Do you know that is the time we chose to take away Article 370. क्या कर लिया? Finger. That is the time we showed कि now you have been shown कि ज़्यादा चै चै करेगा उसका नतीजा क्या होगा. And now we are taking away with Article 370. Let's see what you can do about it. Let's see what you can do about it. This was a very essential step. Nobody messes with China. Now the lesson clearly went. Nobody messes with India. You mess with India at your own peril. We have a Kashmir problem. Sorry, we are not aware of any problem in Kashmir. The only problem we are aware of is Pakistan occupied Kashmir. वो हमारा है. When are you giving it back? That is the only problem left. Baki, everything has been solved. And you see the reaction downstream. आप जो लाल चौक है श्रीनगर का, वहां तिरंगा झंडा नहीं फैला सकते थे साहब. You could not fly the tricolor in the Lal Chowk. And when some brave boys from India went there to fly the tricolor, the Jammu and Kashmir police broke their bloody bones. Police! अरे वो state police, state किसकी है? हमारा state है. And what are they beating those people up? For flying the tricolor. Sorry sir, I don't know how it was tolerated for 74 years plus. How can you tolerate this कि पुलिस वहां का लोकल आपका हड्डी पसली तोड़ देगा? क्योंकि क्या आपने क्या जुर्म किया? 15 अगस्त पे आपने तिरंगा झंडा फहरा दिया साहब लाल चौक पे. हड्डियां तोड़ी है लोगों की. नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी इज लोकेटेड इन श्रीनगर, राइट? वहां पे वो क्रिकेट मैच इंडिया पाकिस्तान का जब भी होता है, वो वैली में भी गदर, कहीं और भी गदर, तो वो जो है there were shouts for Pakistan, Jindabad, this, that and the rest. So the local students who were from all over India, they were so upset that in the campus of that NIT, they took the tricolor and they started, marching around this thing. 2 companies of the J&K police were sent in. वो 19 लड़कियों वहाँ बच्चों का हड्डी तोड़ा, किसी का सर फोड़ा, and they all had to run out from there and come out to Jammu and Delhi and beyond. Is this your own state? Is this a part of India? Excuse me, which world are we living in? Now, आपने देखा इस रिपब्लिक डे को श्रीनगर on the television screens? आपने पिछला देखा इंडिपेंडेंस डे on the television screen? भरा हुआ है तिरंगा झंडा से, भरा हुआ है तिरंगा झंडा. Dal Lake, the whole front, every single shikara that is bloody well there has got a red Tiranga Jhanda. He knows the right side of the law and he knows who's in charge. No namby-pamby guy who will say, हाँ मैं सोचूंगा, मैं सोच रहा हूँ, मैं आप मांगो तो तू मांग के देख तेरे दांत मुंह तोड़ देंगे. This is our country, boy. You don't mess with us. This is our country. You dare talk of Pakistan, we will export you to Pakistan in a box. That the people now tell me this. बख्शी साहब, अब सरकार ने वो किया जो आपने उस दिन बोला था कि don't think we are going out from here. अगले 10,000 साल बाद और उसके भी बाद भारत का तिरंगा बड़ी शान से जम्मू कश्मीर में फहराएगा. You had to remove the ambiguity. Now what is the status, the militarily status? Let me give you some more details. The simple fact is that when I was serving there, 2000, I spent 5 years non-stop fighting in Kashmir. 3 consecutive tenures. Kishtwar, back to Udhampur, came back to Rajouri and Poonch. The Kishtwar and Rajouri and Poonch were the worst terrorist affected areas in Jammu and Kashmir. I am very happy to state that by the time I left those areas, they were the most peaceful areas of Jammu and Kashmir. They had started, when I reached Kishtwar, I found what the problem is. I said, don't kill the piyada. I have no interest in the foot soldier. वो 16-17 they pick up boys of 13-14, उनको pistol gun पकड़ा देते and he starts shooting. So he said that he'll fill up any day. And you know how they recruit the children? They call them, oh बच्चों cricket match खिलाएंगे. So which little kid doesn't want to play cricket, yeah? In India, and the kids in Kashmir are crazy about cricket. तो पहले तो क्रिकेट खिलाएगा, फिर बोला अरे इससे अच्छा खेलना है क्या, ये देख गन देखा AK-47 कलाशनिकोव, जो करे खुदा का खौफ वो उठा ले कलाशनिकोव. So the little problem is that the Rashtriya Rifles also has Kalashnikov. So the point at issue is, I said go for the top commanders. Commander marta hai to farak padta hai. Because the commander, a terrorist commander, to remain a terrorist commander, has to keep a lot of things inside his head and not share it with the other soldiers, the piyadas. Ammunition kahan chupa hai? Where is the radio transmitter for contact with Pakistan? Where is the money? Who are the top OGWs who give us money? वो नहीं बताता किसी को. नहीं तो अगर पकड़ा गया, 2-3 थप्पड़ पड़े तो सब उगल देगा. You know, these guys are harder to crack. I'm being very blunt. These guys are harder to crack. So fair enough. We'll get you, boy, and we'll kill you and put you 6 feet under the ground where you belong. So we started doing that. I said, I want Tehsil commanders, I want district commanders, I want divisional commanders. And I used to have their photographs, those who were operating in my area. So the key fighting element is the major, the company commander. He controls that set of villages around with his post in the center, right? So I used to go to him and I used to take out the photographs of the people who are operating in this area. Son, ye kaun hai? Sir, ये अबू हुरैरा है सर. ये कौन है सर? ये अबू मुस्तफ़ा है सर. ये okay. How long has he been operating in your area? Sir, this boy has been operating for 3 sir, that one for 2.5 sir. Why? Why is he living so long? Simple question. When are you giving me his dead body? Management by objectives. Huh? When are you calling me to see his dead body? And don't tell me you have killed him, because I'll come, however bloody his face is, don't worry, I'm not squeamish about touching dead bodies. कईयों को बड़ा लगता है, उल्टी शुल्टी करना शुरू कर देते हैं लोग जो नए नए होते हैं. There's nothing doing. I would like to see his dead body, match the face. हाँ यही है, okay. So score off, and this is the way I used to go around. Very soon, within about less than 3 months, 37 top commanders had been killed. And then मेरे को message आया, बख्शी साहब तेरे को देख लेंगे. You know, they sent a message through some source. बख्शी साहब तेरे को देख लेंगे. I said, अच्छा? So I called my deputy. I said, look, we go hunting around for these bozos. हाथ नहीं चढ़ता. ये कह रहे हैं देख लेंगे. They are coming to us. Give them a welcome party. All the guests, you know what to happen to all the guests who come here. And all this, sir, don't worry. We are praying for such a thing like that and all that. But they didn't attack my headquarters. They didn't even ambush me. Because I used to be about almost every second, third day going all over my area with a siren. You know. And what they did was, there's a village called Pati Mahal, right? And in that village, that is about 6 hours from the capital of Kishtwar, district capital. And they when the bus stopped at that last stop at Pati Mahal, they came in. Acha, tera naam bol. They identified all the Hindus and they took them out, 6 of them. Took them up the Nala, 3, 4, 5 hours from the road and shot them all. Left one boy alive. बोल जाके बख्शी को बता देना. बोले ब्रिगेड साहब को, तेरा कमांडर को, बख्शी को बता देना. Of course, all their faces were covered. So this boy came down. Naturally, you can imagine his state. He came down, got a bus the next morning, came to the town, informed us. By the time it had rained at night. So I was furious because this is quite a direct personal challenge. You know, so I told the company commander, get to that bloody area and get this get these, I want to see them dead. So he was, sir, if you order me, I'll do it. But the fact is, it has rained and even by now they would have travelled another 12, 18 hours ahead. And even the dogs can't pick up their trail. We have the sniffer dogs to track these people. Now they can't pick up the trail. I said, nevertheless, I want the whole area around trampled. Because I want them to know that the government of India is very angry. Sarkar khush nahi hai. They are not happy that you have done this. Or the rest of you have kept quiet. You must feel the power of the state. The state is not a entity to be trifled with. It is a powerful state, you see. And you will feel the power of the state. So they cordon searched the whole area, people were fed up. Next week, there's a little village called Tagud, right? So they went to the Tagud village. So we had put in the villages, village defense committees, and we had given the old soldiers, old policemen there, 303 World War I rifles. So with this, you hold them off. When we hear the sound of the firing, we'll come to you. Because how many villages can you defend? You can't be everywhere. I had 7,500 square kilometers of the most, difficult mountain terrain in the whole of Jammu and Kashmir to defend. And I had, how many troops to hold it? 2,500. Even if I put one person to a square kilometer, 2/3 would be khali. So their tactics were very simple. They said, isko nachayenge ab. We'll kill in this village, he'll go rushing there. Then we'll kill in that village, he'll go rushing there. Then and at the end of it, his boys will be tired and, fed up. So they went to that village of Tagud. There was a village defense committee there. They didn't kill in the village. From every village in the summer in Jammu and Kashmir, the old couple, one old couple, two old couples, they'll take all the little children and they'll take all their goats and sheep and cows and buffaloes and take them up to the pastures, alpine pastures. Beautiful actually, and then they'll stay for 2-3 months. They'll make ghee there, they'll make paneer there. They have a thing called kuladi, it's very tasty form of cheese, So they make all that there and then they come back. And they take their maweshis away because otherwise they'll eat their own corn which is growing in the field. They have no barbed wire fences. So they will eat their own corn, so they take them up. So they went up, they killed 8 civilians. Buddha, Budiya, chote bacche, 7, 8, and left one kid alive of about 8 or 9. Or same message, jaake Bhakshi ko bata dena. And sir, by now there was panic in the Hindu community and there was an exodus from that area started, like it had happened in the valley. And all hell broke loose. Advani ji was then the Home Minister and he was tough and he started putting pressure, army headquarters downward, and from everybody the ton of pressure came on to one person who was in charge of that area. So, so what the hell is happening in your command? I said, sir, just last month you took away 1 battalion. The road is more threatened, so we are taking it. I told you don't do it. But आपने मेरी सुनी नहीं. अब आप मेरे को पूछ रहे हो क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे? तो do you want additional troops? मैं कहा no sir. Now it is a matter of honor. Either I should have resigned, then that you are taking away without my recommendation, or since I continue to stay on, that means I am responsible for what happens thereafter. That is the way we see responsibility in the armed forces, right? So I said, I will handle it. So my boys, my battalion commanders, sir, their plan is very simple. They'll tire us out. Everywhere there is a killing, you'll get angry, you'll send us. By that time they would have fled long ago because they are timing it such. And we'll be going round and round and round in circles. I said, look, you are going to that area, does 2 things. I know it gets very frustrating not to get that your target and yet have to go there. It reassures the local people. Otherwise there will be a full scale exodus. Abhi to trickle shuru hua hai. There will be a full scale exodus. I said, no, we'll have to keep doing this, but now we'll also have to change tactics. And sure enough, next week there was a killing of 13 in a place called Gulabgarh. And with this killing of 13, whatever we were fearing, the full scale exodus started. So we held a conference as to what to do. I said there is no way that we can defend every village, right? There is no way that we can defend every village, but let us attack those who are doing the killings. I will go for those who are doing the killings, and that will be the technique from now on. And when that killing happened, sure enough, I had 2 battalions, 11 RR, 26 RR. I took one company, took people from my headquarters, made a 30-40 vehicle convoy, put a siren in front. Wah, wah. Have you heard that siren that goes off? In the mountains, it echoes and re-echoes, you know. So the aim is cyber. मारना ठीक है, डरा के मारना ज़्यादा अच्छा है, you know. Cyber, you know. So I reached that village of Gulabgarh. I camped there, and I said, cordon and search every village around. You know, cordon and search is very harassing. Everybody has to be told, leave your house, come out. Women, all ladies go there. All gents here. All gents between 16 to 30 fighting, they go there. And the whole day they'll have to stand there, and while we search every house for any clues, anything left over, any weapons, any grenades, any explosives, you know. It's quite harassing, but it has to be done. So it had to be done. So 2-3 days they took off that cordon and search and combing operation. And, you know, they were very, very terrified, bichare. So all the panchayat ke jo sarpanch, they came outside my room where I was staying in the school, one of the schools there, and they हाथ जोड़ के खड़े हो गए बेचारे. बख्शी साहब हमने नहीं किया. तो I came out, I said, मैंने बोला आपने किया? नहीं जनाब, हमने नहीं किया बख्शी साहब, यकीन मानो, खुदा की कसम हमने नहीं किया, ये नहीं किया, वो नहीं किया, and all that. I said नहीं, मैं आपसे सीधा सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ, मुझे बताओ किसने किया. I just want to know who did it. Simple. आपको मैं किसी को इल्जाम दे ही नहीं रहा हूँ. आप कैसे रोको, आपके पास हथियार नहीं. How could you have saved them? I'm asking you who did it. तो थोड़ी देर बेचारे बोले सर एक मिनट. The whole group of 10-15 सरपंचेस, they went to that other corner, खुस and all that. फिर वापस आए. कमांडर साहब, हम कोई एक आपको नहीं बता रहा, हम सब बता रहे हैं कि अबू मुस्तफ़ा, अबू गुलाम, अबू उमेर, ये पाकिस्तानी टेररिस्ट हैं 3 लश्कर तैयबा के, इन्होंने ये किया, और ये 2 लोकल गुज्जर गाइड थे. ऐसा थैंक यू वेरी मच, दैट्स ऑल दैट आई वांटेड टू नो. I said, please call off the operation. They were very happy. I said, no, but it's not totally over. I want all the males of the 15 villages around in that school, you know, lecture hall, main lecture hall. So when they came there, I had their PowerPoint screen put there with a projector. And I showed them the photographs of the dead bodies of the children, little girls, little boys, and that old couple. The man was almost 80, the lady was about 75, who had taken them up there, dead bodies, you know. And they had played with those people before killing them. Ye kya hai? Rifle. Ye kya hai? Goli. Ab khao. That kind of a thing. You know. So, I showed them the photographs. मैंने कहा क्या ये जायज़ है? नहीं जनाब. You know how vigorously people shake their head. You'll be quite surprised. You know, नहीं जनाब. So I said, देखिए यहाँ, I had called the Maulvi from the mosque. I said, in the Quran Sharif, there is an ayat which says, jihad में औरतों की जान, बच्चों की जान, बूढ़ों की जान बख्श दी जाए. ये लाशें किनकी है? औरतें, बच्चों, बूढ़ों की. मैंने कहा मौलवी साहब ज़रा वो आयात सबको पढ़ के सुना दें. हाँ, तो मौलवी साहब खड़े हुए in his sing song voice. He had a nice command over this thing. and he sang out the ayat as it is supposed to be spoken. I said, thank you very much, sit down. I said, now I want to convey a message through you. Please listen very carefully. Abu Mustafa, Abu Ghulam, Abu Umair, तुमने अल्लाह ताला के हुक्म अंजुली करी है. You have violated the injunctions of the Lord himself. अब तुम जहन्नम के किसी भी कोने में जाके छुप जाओ, हिंदुस्तान की फौज तुम्हें ढूंढ के निकालेगी, और जब तुम हमारे हाथ चढ़ो, चाहे एक हफ्ता लगे, चाहे एक महीना, चाहे एक साल, हम तुम्हें कुत्ते की मौत मारेंगे, जला के मारेंगे, ताकि कयामत के दिन तुम्हारी रूह खड़ी नहीं हो सके. तुमने अल्लाह ताला की हुक्म मंजूरी करी. नाउ रन फॉर ऑल योर वर्थ. भाड़ में गए बाकी टेररिस्ट. द इंडियन आर्मी इज कमिंग ओनली एंड ओनली फॉर यू थ्री. भाग ले बेटा जहां भागना. इतना बोल के मैं वहां से आ गया. एंड श्योर इनफ, within about a week of this threat, my top Gujar source who used to give me information, and he came to me. Bhakshi साहब हाथ में खुजली हो रहा. You understand what that means? Because they give information for money. Very simple. It's a simple game. तो I said call him. तो आया मेरे पास. हाँ क्या है? I won't take his name. क्या खबर है? तो बोले जो तूने धमकी दिया ना, बहुत अच्छा किया. दिस इज द वे द गुज्जर्स टॉक इन द माउंटेन्स. तूने धमकी दिया ना बख्शी साहब, बहुत अच्छा किया. मैंने क्यों? अरे अपनी छाया से डर रहे. किसी गांव में 1 घंटा नहीं ठहरते, कोई उनकी तरफ देखता है उसको मारना शुरू कर देते हैं. अबे तू हमारे खिलाफ मुखबरी करेगा, बहुत दहशत में है साहब. और मैंने कहा कट द कॉमेडी, अभी किधर है? वेयर आर दे नाउ? बोले हाँ साहब, वो टाटा के जंगल में एक ओपन क्लियरिंग है, उसके बीच में एक धोख है. इतना डरे हुए हैं कि वहां जाके छुपे कि कोई चुपचाप इनके तरफ आ ना पाए. मैंने कहा ले जाएगा? जरूर जनाब. हैं तो पैसा? मैंने कहा जब पहले मरेगा तब मैं पैसा दूंगा. ऐसे थोड़ी ना कि मेरे को घुमा दे कहीं भी और पैसा. तो मैंने कहा कि मैं जाऊंगा साहब. मैंने खुद ले जाएगा? हाँ मैं ले जाऊंगा. ठीक है साहब. तो मैंने कहा इसको बुर्का पहनाओ. ही वॉज 6 feet 4. तो उसको जब बुर्का पहनाया, हिज हेयरी लेग्स वर शोइंग थ्रू. तो वो बोले सर, मैंने कहा इसको जीप में डालो, ले जाओ, टेक हिम, इट्स इवनिंग नाउ, hurry to this thing. So he reached the battalion, and I told the commanding officer, I'm very happy to state, he was a colonel then, he is today, he retired as a lieutenant general. And Anil Khosla. I said, Anil, I'm sending you my top source. He knows where those 3 bozos are. Go yourself. It's a matter of honor. It's very personal. Get them. Yes, sir. वो निकल गया. By the last light, he had laid cordon to that, and then they started firing from there. The moment the firefight started, we used to monitor their radio communications. कौन किससे क्या बात कर रहा है, चुपचाप the Indian Army used to monitor. Half the intelligence used to come from there, So suddenly we heard radio conversation. अरे अबू मुस्तफा, अबू गुलाम, अबू उमेर फौज के घेरे में हैं. अरे कुछ करो यार, वो फौज उनके जान की प्यासी है, बहुत बुरा हाल करेगी, बुरी तरह मारेगी उनको. कुछ करो, फौज का ध्यान बटाओ, डिस्ट्रैक्ट करो, फायर खोलो यहाँ, फायर खोलो वहाँ. I said, वो that signal, the officer in charge of signal intelligence, he came running to me, sir, they are the same guys. I said, good, ठीक है sir. तो वो जोश में आया, he along with his boys, they charged. You see, now there was no bloody cover. It was like a polo field. In the jungle, you can hide from tree to tree to tree, bush to bush, you can go, There was no cover. So the moment the boys charged, they opened fire. They were fighting for their lives. वो चूहे को भी आप कॉर्नर में डाल दो, तो he'll fight, he'll take out his teeth and fight. Heavy fire they opened up. 2 of my boys got shot up. One got hit through the head. It came from here and went out from here, and he was फड़फड़ा रहा था ऐसा. And by the time it was dark, so the helicopters also could not come because our helicopters then did not have night flying capabilities. So the helicopter also could not come to evacuate. So the CEO got naturally very upset. He said, sir, two of my boys are gone. If I don't take them out to the hospital, they'll die, sir. I'm calling the operation off. I said, Anil, don't do that. You stay put. I'm coming forward to take your boys. I'll ensure that they survive. But don't call this operation off. We'll never get them again. Ye Pakistan bhag jayenge. So he stayed put. I went forward myself with the RMO ambulance. We told up command headquarters. They kept their operational theatre ready. The army can deliver wonders at times. And we saved those two boys. Next morning we started the attack again. And again we had one more casualty. So he says, sir, it is getting near impossible. I'll have to wait for darkness again. I said, वो नहीं बचेगा वहाँ, नहीं वो रहेगा यार, वो निकल जाएगा. He said, sir, there is no cover. They have chosen such a bloody place where there is no cover. So I'll assault again. I'll lose another 4 or 5 boys, and I don't know if I can still get them. There's absolutely not a stitch of cover. So I said, who asked you to attack? He was slightly surprised. I said, who asked you to attack? Have you got the Russian flamethrower? Yes, sir. I said, why don't you use it? He said, sir, but if there are civilians inside, फिर मेरा क्या होगा? Very famous dialogue, na, मेरा क्या होगा, कालिया, So I said, that's very simple. Take your loud hailer and announce, हिंदुस्तान का फौज ये झोपड़पट्टी को जला रहा है. अगर कोई सिविलियन है, दोनों हाथ खड़ा करके बाहर आ जाओ, हम 10 गिन रहे हैं. We are counting 10. I said, yes, sir. So he started, they made the announcement, started counting 10. In the choicest Punjabi, we got the vilest of, MC, BC kind of abuses in Punjabi. So I asked him, what's happening? Sir, बोला पंजाबी में गाली दे रहा है. So I said, Kashmiri तो पंजाबी नहीं बोलता ना. So you got the answer to your question, who's inside? So I said, use the flamethrower now. Poor chappie still hesitated. कि sir, अगर वो gag करके रखा हो. बोले यार, we made all efforts. I can't lose the lives of my troops now to save these terrorists. So I said, please go ahead and use the damn flamethrower. And you got problem, I can understand. I mean, you also have to safeguard you and your boys. So, for Tiger, from Tiger. All commanders at all ranks in the army in radio jargon are called Tiger. So you can't make out whether it is a brigade commander, divisional commander, or a section commander talking. Who's talking to whom. Even if you are monitoring, you can't make out. I said, from Tiger, for Tiger. Use flamethrower now. Record transmission. Comply. Out. This is simple transmission in the army. कि जो मैंने बोला है उसको record कर लो, so that you have proof कि sir, I didn't do it, I was ordered to do it. You got questions, ask him, and I'll answer. I said, fine, I'll answer, because I am also answerable for the lives of my troops, and I will not have 10-15 more boys lost for the sake of 3 criminals. So he used the flamethrower. It is a thermobaric weapon. It's a rocket launcher. It fires 300 meters tak jata hai, 300 to 500 meters. Wherever the shell explodes, it creates a fireball 8 meters diameter. The temperature at the core is 1000 degrees centigrade. Ladies, at what temperature do you cook the food in the kitchen? It's about 200, 300, I'm telling you. So there was a flash. That dhok was made of pine wood. Now pine wood has resin, gum hota hai usme, gond. And one tree that can catch fire and burn in a matter of minutes is the pine tree. It's a very dicey tree to take shelter under in a thunderstorm. Never do that, because that pine tree will burn, right? So that hut caught fire, it blazed 300-400 high flames we've not seen so far in my life. And within about an hour, everything was burnt to ash. It was so hot that the troops could not even go close. Then after some time we said, okay, go and check. Are they there? या कहीं भाग तो नहीं गए थे उसका पहले? You know. So they went and checked. क्या बचा था लास्ट का वो मीट शीट तो सब it had gone. Even the bones had been burnt to ash. So what we could see was one pile where this khopra is, the spine, the hip bones, the thigh bone, the femur bone. These are the biggest bones in the body. You could just see the ash outlines, right? I said, where are the weapons? So then they dug even more. The AK-47, the woodwork had burnt to ash. There was no woodwork available. The metal portion, the tube of the rifle had bent into a U. Ladies and gentlemen, वो कलाशनिकोव का जो ट्यूब है ना, अगर किसी के सिर पे आप मारें, उसका सिर फट जाएगा. It's such a hard tube. The first time in my life, we were also little not seen the impact of this weapon. The Russians are bad at making good weapons. So, it had burnt into a U. They had died a terrible death. I said, take photos, खूब photos लो. खूब photos लो. So they photographed. Sir, what next, sir? Tell Gulabgarh we are coming. I want villages of all 15 villages around, villagers, males to be there. So we repeated that drill. So we showed them first the dead bodies of the minorities that had been killed, the women and children, and then we showed them that. So they were all gaping, they could only see a pile of ash. I said, no, I'll help you. So I had a laser pointer, so I said, ye dekha, leg bone, femur bone, and now see the Kalashnikov, you see the bend, show them all three, to sare three dikha diye. Ye Abu Mustafa, Abu Ghulam, Abu Umair, जल के मरे. इन्होंने अल्लाह ताला की हुक्म मंजूरी की. They disobeyed the injunctions of the Holy Quran, and see the fate they have met. I'm just giving you one assurance. Look, you are fond of fighting, we are paid to fight. हमको तनख्वाह मिलता है लड़ने का. You tell us the place and the time, हम वहाँ आ जाएंगे, तुम्हारा सारा शौक पूरा कर देंगे. Right? But you kill the women and the children and the old. Boy, we'll drop everything else, we'll come for you. And however much time it takes, we'll get you, and when we get you, we'll do this. समझ गया? जी जनाब, बिल्कुल. Sir, that was September 2001. From then till this year, there's just been one accidental killing in the Kishtwar town of the minorities. हाथ नहीं लगाया. जो भागे थे घर से, we called them back. सर कुछ होगा तो नहीं? मैं कहता हम देखते हैं ना यार कैसे होगा. The message got loud and clear, and the best confirmation of this again came from the radio intelligence. In between, you remember there was Operation Parakram when our parliament was attacked, right? And one of my battalions had to go out, and they were packing up to go out, and that is the time we got the intercept of the terrorist. अबे शाबाश, ये तो फौज जा रही है. कहता है और कुछ भी मत करियो मेरे भाई, हिंदू ना मारना, ये तो कुत्तों की तरह वापस आ जाएंगे और पागल की तरह तुम्हारे पीछे पड़ जाएंगे, बहुत बुरा हाल करेंगे, इनको जाने दे. So even when we were not there, nobody was touched. The simple theory is counter terror with specific pinpoint terror. You do this to us, we'll do this to you. The rules should be very clear to you if you want to operate in this area. Otherwise, दफा हो जाओ. बहुत सारे terrorists मेरा area छोड़ के neighboring areas को जाके दुखी किया. ये area में शांति थी. By the time I had left, the people were having picnics. The people of the worst area in Jammu and Kashmir were having picnics in the picnic spot. It's a beautiful place. Do go there sometimes. Things are far, far different from what they were. So this is the way to handle Kashmir. When we were there were 5,000 armed terrorists. Today there are just 150 armed terrorists left. Quantitative analysis. 5,150 armed terrorists left, and they are running helter to skelter. They are trying to take one odd target here and there. And I have requested people that if what we had done in Kishtwar had been done in Kashmir, the Kashmiri Pandits, 5 lakhs of them, wouldn't have been out where they are. They wouldn't have been out where they are. Sometimes you have to take risks. Sometimes you have to stick your neck out. But if you are quite clear, this is for the cause of my country and my people, to hell with the consequences. To hell with the consequences. And it worked. So my boss was a very tough commander, General Rustam Nanavati, Northern Army commander. People were dead scared of him, And a few days later, about a month later, I got a call from him. GD, I noticed all killings in your area have stopped. So I said, yes, sir. So he said, what did you do? So I wasn't sure whether I should tell my boss or not. I said, sir, I went for those guys who had done it, and I used a flamethrower. There was pin drop silence on the other side of the telephone. And for a minute I thought, GD, tera rank gaya. You are gone. But from the other side, thank God for such commanders. He said, GD, you did right. Kadach. It's just as simple as that. So I have given you as it was. I will not tax my listeners further, but I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have on this subject. Thank you.